In this video, we're going to talk about a much requested topic, which is what are the 3 best guns to have for home defense. I'm going to go through some possibly unpopular opinions, break down my ways of thinking, and hopefully inspire a desire for training and preparedness for those of you looking to truly be able to defend yourself and your family if your life was ever threatened in your home. Now, I've never been in a self-defense situation in my home, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. It's nothing really serious, it's just one gun guy talking to another. So with all that, the best way to support the channel is by becoming a member of the kit page, where I provide discount codes and links to everything I talk about on the channel. Huge thank you to the sponsors of the channel, Guns Online, thank you. I have an exclusive code for them here, and of course Optics Planet, use this code at checkout or use the better code on the kit page. Full disclosure, like I said before, I'm not a home defense expert. I don't claim any special training or a cure-all option for the best self-defense weapon. I'm simply going to share my thoughts and opinions, as well as what I have and what I do to keep myself and my family safe in my home. Do with this information what you will. I also did receive some products sponsored by IWA that I'm going to sprinkle into this video. They didn't ask me to do this, I just believe in their product and mission and want to show off some of their stuff. So starting off with the 3 best guns I recommend you have in your home. Number 1, of course, a suppressed AR-15. Number 2, a suppressed PCC. And number 3, no, not a handgun, but a humble 12-gauge shotgun. And I am going to throw in a bonus item. This is, of course, the surprise grenade. In this case, it's just an M13 thermobaric device, but we will talk about that in a second. Now, starting off with what you probably expected, an AR-15 is something that you hopefully already have. A lot of people think that you need to have a short build in order for it to qualify as a home defense rifle, but I see absolutely zero issues with you running a 16-inch rifle as your home defense option if that's all you have. If you have it, don't stress about building another short one if it's not in the budget. Now, if you do have the budget, then building a 12.5 is a great idea. But if you're going to do that, then you really need to consider buying a suppressor, especially now because starting January, there's no longer a $200 tax stamp you have to pay for when you register it. And they are working to even cut the registry completely out of it altogether, which I really hope happens. I do think even if you're running a 16-inch rifle, you should suppress it as well, but we'll talk about that. The setup I keep stored in my bedroom is a rifle I actually built out a long time ago on the channel, but I have changed a couple things over the years. Still to this day though, it's always been a solid home defense setup. I'm running a Cloud Rain 3 flashlight, which I would say you absolutely need to have a flashlight on your home defense rifle. If you can't ID your target, you absolutely should not take the shot, and that's for obvious reasons. I'm also running a Silencerco Saker K, which is a great can, Geisley trigger, which I'm a huge fan of, EOTech single dot red dot, which is perfect for close distance, and I'm running Hornady critical defense ammo because I don't want to worry about the threat fighting back. Would I recommend a 12.5 over a 16-inch in a home defense situation? Yeah, probably, but only because you don't need the extra length to get the job done. That bullet really isn't slowing down within 25 yards, so having a lighter setup will only benefit you when it comes to moving quickly around whatever obstacles are in your home. Now, before I said you should consider a suppressor, and I want you to understand why I think like that. And I know there's a lot of differing opinions in this topic. Again, take this with a grain of salt. This is just my opinion. Imagine you wake up in the middle of the night, your family is all asleep, but you hear somebody's in your home. Turns out he's a threat to you and your family's life, and you take the shot unsuppressed. Let's say you're trained and you're a great shot, but it still takes 5 very nervous rounds to take down the threat. If you've ever shot a short rifle indoors without ears on, you know that even after the first shot, your hearing is completely gone for the next 5 to 10 minutes. And just like that, you've lost one of your main senses. You're probably not a trained killer Navy SEAL who has an action plan and starts to instantly sweep the house. You're a regular dude who just did the scariest thing of his life to protect his family, and now on top of that, you can't hear your loved ones asking if everything's okay. You also can't hear your wife screaming at you that there's another guy down the hall. You have no idea if there's other threats still in the house, which your ears are an important element when it comes to making sure you're totally safe. And as an untrained regular dude, you want all of the senses you can get in a stressful situation. Now, obviously, a suppressor can only do so much, and shooting one inside without ears will absolutely still be loud, but it's drastically more quiet than with a basic muzzle device. The pros to me are you can communicate with your loved ones still, which can be a very serious thing when it comes to life or death situations. You maintain mostly all of your senses, allowing you to make better decisions in the moment. This leads me to an important important thing that I don't think we talk about enough, which is having an emergency action plan for just you if you live alone, or especially if you have a family. Now, you don't need to scare your family or make them paranoid, but what you should do is have a few simple things in place that increase everyone's chances of staying safe if something were to happen. A basic example is designate roles ahead of time. One person is responsible for handling the firearm while another is in charge of calling 911. That way, when adrenaline spikes and chaos hits, you're not both fumbling to do the same thing. The decision's already made. Another important piece is establishing a designated rally point, a location where everyone automatically goes when a specific code word is spoken. That way you're not wasting precious time searching the house during a high-stress situation. You might also want to think about safe room setups. Is there a room you can fortify or lock down quickly? Pre-staged tools. Do you have a flashlight, spare phone, or a tourniquet accessible? Training family members. Even if they aren't handling the firearm, do they know how to stay quiet, avoid bottlenecks, or communicate clearly under stress? And practice, just like a fire drill, walk through the plan once or twice so everyone's muscle memory kicks in when it matters. Your plan doesn't have to be complex, just intentional. Think ahead, talk it through, and prepare now so you're not trying to improvise when every second counts. I will also say with this, there should be safeguards in place that deter someone from breaking into your home in the first place. I highly recommend having even a basic alarm system on a window or a door in case somebody goes through one of those in the middle of the night. You're oblivious to somebody else being uninvited into your home. You should absolutely have in place some type of alarm that will signal to you that someone is in your home. If you can afford it, get cameras. Do absolutely everything that you can to fortify your home, and so you're not placed in this situation in the first place. Using a firearm is hopefully your absolute last line of defense. You should make it very difficult for yourself to have to use a firearm in your own home. But I do understand with budgets and everything that can be difficult. I'm just saying prioritize fortifying your home. Moving on to my next recommendation, if you have the AR, do you really think handing your significant other your handgun is the best option? I get it. Your friend told you that the best home defense gun was a Glock 19. It's the gun he keeps by his bed at night. Here's the thing. If you think the woman in your life is going to shoot that thing safer and more accurately than a PCC, you don't train enough. A handgun is 10 times harder to shoot than a PCC. That's just a fact. And a suppressed PCC is the ultimate girlfriend gun. You tell her to point and shoot, and she will be more capable and safer with that than anything else. I can tell you this, the absolute last gun I'm handing my girl is a handgun or a shotgun. She's getting the PCC or an AR. In my opinion, they are by far the safest and best option for almost everybody. The goal is to make everybody as safe as possible, all while making defeating the threat as easy as possible. And that starts with using a firearm that's easy to shoot. Don't complicate an already complicated situation. Build a PCC, add a flashlight, and suppress it. Now, I do completely understand why people would want a shotgun. There are a lot of you who live in a home with very thin walls, and if you're shooting an AR, it could potentially go through one of those walls and hurt one of your family members. At the end of the day, you are running the same risk with any firearm you choose to shoot inside of your house. Again, in my opinion, if you're shooting a firearm that's easy to hit your target with, there's much less a chance of a stray bullet hitting someone that you didn't intend. And I would argue there's a lot more potential stray bullets coming out of a shotgun than there are out of a single shot PCC or an AR-15. So for the women in our lives, I recommend a PCC. For the men, use the AR. I believe that is the power couple duo. Also, stay tuned for my budget PCC build coming to the channel soon if you're looking for some ideas on what to pick. Right now I have my previously shown Daniel Defense PCC, which I love so much. This thing is absolutely overkill, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend using a build like this for home defense. Build out a much simpler version that's super lightweight with a light and suppressor, and you're good to go. I'm working on this one here from PSA, so stay tuned for this build coming soon. Now, the last recommendation I have, not including the bonus item, which we will still talk about this after, is a shotgun. And this is not exactly for the reason you're probably thinking. I know you have a friend who told you to buy a shotgun as your main home defense weapon, and I have a couple of reasons why it should be your last option. To point out the obvious, you're probably not going to suppress your shotgun. Yes, there are ways to do it, but I seriously doubt you're going to spend that kind of money to do it. Honestly, that's probably my main reason. The second is you're extremely extremely limited on the amount of ammo you have ready to fire, and when you're out, the reload time is centuries compared to swapping an AR or PCC mag. To me, it just doesn't compare to the simplicity and capabilities of the first two. The reason I do think it's important to have is actually as a breaching tool. Can it take down a threat? Yeah, of course it can. Everybody knows this can do the job, but I believe there are better tools for the same job, and in my opinion, this tool is good for blowing hinges off doors if you get stuck in your room for whatever reason. Now, what could possibly justify blowing the hinges off your door? My main argument would be a house fire, but I'm sure you can come up with something better. Maybe the bad guy locked himself in a room and you need to get in to make sure your family is safe. I don't know. I just know that a shotgun would do that job. And if it doesn't, you can just always use a door breach charge, which you bought on the internet, which is completely legal, by the way. Huge fan of IWA, I'll get to that soon. For now, I think I'm making the point that I would choose pretty much anything over a handgun, including a shotgun, again, because it serves a purpose different than what an AR or PCC can do. This trio makes perfect sense to me. As for the M13 flashbang, I'm sure you can think of 100 reasons why this would be a good idea to keep by your bed. It's non-lethal, it will absolutely ensure you make the first move, and it's very effective indoors. Obviously, these are of course for more than just home intruders, but I can't think of a more practical situation where having one of these makes perfect sense to the average guy. Besides civil unrest, but that doesn't happen very often. Unless you live in California or a place like that. Anyway, I'll have these linked on my kit page. IWA has an awesome lineup. So those are my top 3 recommendations. I hope you get something out of this, possibly a new way of thinking about things or a desire to create an emergency action plan with your family. Maybe you're going to go buy a door sensor or a security system. I hope you understand that training really will make all of the difference between you being capable of protecting innocent life or not. Make sure you're prioritizing that over everything. I do have about 10 new builds I'm currently working on to bring to the channel. I've been extremely busy, but I want to get these out there for you to enjoy. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next one.